A very, very beautiful Monday. It is the 28th day in the month of October 2024, and as you know, I'm super excited to welcome you to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. I am Sarah Owusu-Anzah, and you know I'm always here to give you all the juice, all the trending stories, all the hot stories on the national dailies. And I don't do this by myself, you know that already. Flying with me this morning is Olumide. Good morning, Olumide.
You missed out one thing. Key thing, the Yoruba angel.
Well, I think I'm changing my mind on that.
Why?
I think I'm changing my mind.
I'm not swinging any other way. I'm still a good
I think there's
angel.
been a flip. Yes, and I don't want to. I don't want to cast you on the show. So let's talk about that later. I'll just stick to my Olumide. Before, when you do something that will make me change my mind, I can go back to Yoruba Angel.
Well, I'm still a Yoruba angel. Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of motivation and inspiration, the Breakfast Cafe. I am Olumide Shokoy. I must ask you, how was your weekend and what was the highlight for you?
You really don't know. You really do not want to know how my weekend went, but I'm just glad that I'm here. It was a whole lot this weekend. It was a whole lot, several things to attend to, but we're here. It wasn't really a restful weekend. I wouldn't say it was a restful weekend. I wouldn't actually say it was a fantastic weekend, to put it out there. The highlight for me was going to church yesterday. Aside that, it was okay.
I think the highlight for me was when the electricity company took power, and I was a bit scared that the national grid had gone down again.
That was on Friday. You know, it rained cats and dogs all through Friday, and they took the lights on Friday evening. They were afternoon, evening, and they didn't restore it till the next day. So that thing is very synonymous. Nigeria and
heavy rain.
Electricity and rain, they don't work hand in hand. Once it's raining,
they take it off.
I don't understand the idea behind that, but
it's almost as if they have to dry the wire. Yeah,
and I remember Olumide texting me to ask if we had power. I'm like, okay, yes, at this point we have power. I think it was shortly after that they restored your power.
Yes.
The fear of national grid collapsing these days.
These days it's
is a lot, but aside that, what else did you do this weekend?
I had a peaceful weekend. I rested. I was indoors. Nothing much, nothing exciting. Just resting.
Right, that's a good one. We hope you also had a restful and a beautiful weekend. As we kick off the show this morning, on the show we take Banters and Etiquette newspaper review, analysis, trending stories, views from the net, and conversations. But let's kick off with Banters and Etiquette.
Welcome back. This is etiquette, and I like the topic of today, public transportation etiquette. This is something that you would always encounter at one point, at one stage, whether in school, whether you're working or thereabout. You must have taken public transportation, and you must have experienced some highs and lows of taking public transportation, fighting with the conductor and all that.
Yeah, you know that thing where one of the two things for me, taking public transportation when you give the conductor money.
Yes.
He doesn't have change, and then he pairs you with somebody. Has that thing ever happened to you before? Imagine you have to collect 100 naira change, or 100 naira change, and the other person is also collecting 100 naira change, and he doesn't have, and he has 200 naira. He now gives one person 200. Okay, you should go and sort yourself out. I'm like, how? Why? And then you start roaming around looking for change, and at the end of the day, one person probably has to leave it for the other person. That's one. The second one for me is people that stare into other people's phone in public transport.
Yes.
You're doing something on your phone and the next person is just, and I'm like, guy.
Or removing your wallet. People are always curious to know what's inside your wallet, how much you have. And I'm like,
why do you have to remove your wallet? But you want to give us what?
All right, now there's something about taking public transportation that brings people together. You know, it's like we are all in this little journey together, even if it's just for a few stops. Now, but let's be real. Buses, trains can get crowded and sometimes stressful. That's where a little courtesy goes a long way. Now, simple things like letting someone get off before you board or keeping your music to yourself can make everyone's day, you know, just a bit easier. Now, we are all mindful, when we are all mindful rather of each other, we make public transit feel more welcoming, more comfortable, and honestly, a lot friendlier. Now, here are some of the key points to keep in mind, you know, when in a public transportation. Now, keep noise to the minimum. Use headphones or headsets or whatever if listening to music or watching videos. Keep phone calls short and quiet if you are having a conversation. Avoid raising your voice. I've had this encounter so many times.
You know, I think it also depends on the climb you're in. You know, earlier in Lagos, when the bus rapid transport, BRT, whatever, came into fore, it had this serenity. It had this, you're coming back from work, you want to go into a BRT, you can just relax, it's quiet. Earlier, there was even free internet connection, Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And it was peaceful. But a couple of years after, we don't have that. You go to other climes and you feel like taking public transport. You know, I once had the opportunity of doing that, and I took a public transport, and it didn't feel like it was a public transport. First off, the way they respect you is out of this world. You know, everybody is maintaining their space. You are not playing music loud. You are not shouting over the phone. There's a restroom in it. You know, it's so calm and peaceful that you think you are in a private car. So, to an extent, it also depends on the climate that we find ourselves in.
Yes.
But coming down to Lagos, coming down to Nigeria, if you've not fought with the next, has this ever happened to you? The front seat, where the driver is, you know, most times there are two seats. Yeah. And there's a space there, and you want to enter, and the other person, someone is there already, the person comes down for you to enter. I'm like, why? Why do you have to do that? Why can't you just move in? That is also one of the things that you know, frustrates, that can frustrate you when you're taking public transport. I think
people in front seat feel like they've made it in life. I don't know why, but they have this feeling that they've made it in life. And
right, and then the noise, you're talking about noise. People are on phone calls, they are shouting, very loud, they are listening to music or watching a video on social media. It's so loud, and what exactly is happening?
The next one is avoid blocking aisles and doors. Stand aside from aisles and doors once you are inside. Use polite language and gestures. Small courtesy like excuse me, please, and thank you go a long way. Now be patient if you are navigating through crowds and avoid pushing or shoving. In Nigeria,
in this Lagos, where you have been waiting at the bus station or bus stop for almost 1 hour, a bus now comes. You now have to pay to even take standing. You take standing. You now say, avoid blocking. They have blocked the aisles. There's no space. Well. There's no space again. You know, people will literally take standing, hang on to the handrail or whatever, and just wait till they get to their destination. You're telling them to use polite. Like, nobody, you're supposed to be at work. And you're running late after standing for a bus for 45 minutes. Everybody's angry.
There you have it. Now, be cautious with personal belongings. Keep your belongings secure to prevent them from causing inconvenience or being stolen. I've had this experience several times. I've had my phone stolen in the bus. So you have to keep your belongings very, very close. If possible, hold your phone in your hand or probably put it in your bag. If you are able to
I thought they said putting it in the bag is also very risky because they can always just
snatch your bag.
Or even open your bag and take out your phone.
Yes. For people who wear suits like me, it's better you put it in the pocket of your jacket. That way it's very protected. And put it in your pocket. It can be removed from your pocket.
For people like us who don't wear suits.
Well, you hold it. At least if it's in your hand, it's either they snatch it from your hand, they drag it forcefully out of your hand, then you know that's beyond your control. Now, this one is very, very important. Keep your child or your ward in check. Avoid letting your child or ward touch other people. Navigating through crowds and avoid pushing or shoving. Now, this is something that I've noticed in different transportations. You bring in your child is sitting at your lap, your child is, shall I say, flickering or caressing someone else's hair, and you're laughing. Some people might not like, some people might just be okay with it, okay, it's a child.
That's the one that is getting to you. You've not seen the one that the woman will come with 3 children.
Yes, I know where you're going.
And she says, brother, sister, please help me carry one. and you yourself, you are just managing yourself,
yes.
and then you're so tight. You have to carry one child. She's carrying 2 children. She has load.
Yeah.
She has this. She has that. The child is stepping on you. Man.
There was an experience I had. The woman was trying to enter the bus and she threw her luggages at me. And I was like, I didn't catch her. She got angry. And I was like, why were you throwing luggage at me? I mean, you expect me to catch it? I wouldn't do that. Now, let's quickly move on and see what we have here. Now, we have this one. It also says, practice good hygiene. Yes, public spaces mean exposure to germs. So take steps to minimize this. Use hand sanitizers. Cover your mouth when coughing or sneezing. And avoid eating food with strong odors like fish or what have you.
Or egg, and then you start farting and polluting the air in the bus.
Why would you want to even do that in the bus?
Have you traveled long distance with public transport?
Yes.
I schooled in Ilorin. So going from Lagos to Ilorin after holidays and everything, where you have to go to the garage to take a bus or a car, you would understand what I'm saying. People will eat guinea fowl egg, akara and bread, sausage roll,
all that was cause the Third World War.
Snacks, everything. At the end of the day, you start begging the driver, please, just wait, hold on a bit, I need to excuse myself, I need to relieve myself, and then start specific different odor. It's not a pleasant
quite
memory.
disturbing. Now, this one is also important. Respect boarding and exiting procedures. Always let people exit before you enter. Stand aside and allow a clear path for those leaving. Prevent unnecessary congestion at doors. Now, this one is very, very important. Offer seat to those in need. If you are in a priority seat, be prepared to offer it to the elderly people, pregnant individuals, people with disabilities, or those with young children. I mean, in some hospitals and all that, it's written bolded that we give priorities to the elderly and children. It's written bolded.
Even in public transport, they have the sign. There are some seats that are reserved with the sign, either disabled, elderly, pregnant. They give them priority. Just like when you want to board the bus and there's a queue. Once you're pregnant, you're disabled, you're old, you have a small baby, they are excused from the queue and given preferential treatment. All
right, quickly, let's move. Avoid littering the floor. Disrespectful behavior such as littering the floor, damaging seats, burdens public transport services with additional, repair costs and inconveniences. I mean, it goes without saying. Now, budget properly. If you have more than one child, please try to have enough transportation fee for all of them. Just like Sarah said, avoid, people lapping your children and all that. Now, avoid inconveniencing other people by trying to manage one seat space for multiple people. Prioritize small acts of courtesy. I mean, I think this is where we would stop here. Basically, once you are in the bus, always be considerate about others. Don't let whatever you are doing, inconvenience others. That's just it. That's the bottom line of this whole thing. Yeah. And this is where we'll wrap up Etiquette this morning. Stay tuned. We're going on to the newspaper review shortly after this break.
Welcome back. Now, this is the newspaper review. What we do here is we take a look at stories on The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian, as well as the Daily Trust newspaper. And we also have our analysts join us to talk about these stories. And you as well can be a part of the conversation. Do well to call us. Let us know your contribution to any of the stories on the dailies, or you'd like to bring us up to speed with anything at all in your area, your environment, your community at large. 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Let's kick off with the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And it greets us with a headline that has to do with the Naira. And I heaved a big sigh when I saw this headline this morning, and it says, pressure mounts on Naira, falls to 1,740 Naira in parallel market. This is going to have a huge impact on the economy, because everything now is attributed to Naira and to dollar.
Yes.
You know, see dollar. You know, see dollar. Like, can't you see that dollar is, you know, high. Naira is depreciating and all of that. So we're seeing that that's fallen to 1,740 Naira to a dollar in the parallel market. Disturbing one. A lot of riders to that story, a whole lot of them. But you can get all the details. But NAFEM rate has remained stable at 1,600 Naira. You can get all the details on page 21, Vanguard newspaper. Just beneath that, we see this one. Excuse me. NLC to IMF. You're behind Nigeria's economic woes. NLC is telling the International Monetary Fund, that's the Nigeria Labour Congress, telling the Monetary Fund, that International Monetary Fund, that they are behind Nigeria's economic woes.
Well, I've always been skeptical about some of the statements coming out of the International Monetary Fund. It's almost as if they are in support of this government. They come out with different statements, like the last one when they said it would take some couple of years, a lot of years for us to get out of poverty and all that. I mean, a lot of statements they've been making is not palatable to Nigerians. So I mean, this, I guess, one of the reasons why. And how much are they actually borrowing Nigeria is another topic entirely that we are not ready for.
Right.
But let's move on.
That's a page each read Vanguard newspaper. Above the masthead, NGE tax Southeast and South governors on security. You get all the details on page 8. So interesting one. Dangote backs Tinubu CNG drive. Invest over $280 million in trucks and infrastructure. Like someone will say, Dangote is just a businessman.
That's my expression right now. Dangote
is a businessman. Okay. Invest over $280 million
fingers
in
crossed.
Trucks and infrastructure. Page 15 has the detail.
Fingers
Why are you exclaiming like that?
He has not even solved the refinery, petrol. Are you investing? Well, he's a businessman. He has a lot of money to take risk. Right. Kudos.
Next one beside it says, blackouts, businesses, others suffer setback nationwide. It's very true. The incessant blackouts we've been experiencing. In fact, these days when I want to buy something in the house, I think about it 2 times.
Yes.
Because I'm like, you buy this thing and you come back from work, National Grid has collapsed or something is just wrong somewhere. And I imagine businesses that thrive solely on power supply, how they're able to keep up with their business. But page 5 has all the details. Moving on from that, we see this one. NIWA to phase out wooden boats on inland waterways. All of these are steps they are taking to reduce the amount of boat mishaps, boat accidents that we've been experiencing in the country, not just in Lagos, but in other parts of the country. But it's on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. We see the story here. Helicopter crash. Why we haven't found critical components. That's according to the NSIB. Did you follow up this story?
Yeah, I've been following it, but I'm not gotten not quite too well. But one thing I must say, it's really, really sad. And where the crash happened in the Atlantic Ocean, well.
All right, 2 last stories here very quickly. NASU and SANU begin indefinite strike today over withheld salaries. Disturbing one on page 9. And in sports page 45, we see the story Ballon d'Or 2024. Lookman set for history with Vinicius Junior favorite. And that's all we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, well, let's move on to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. A sad headline greets us. Hardship bites harder as North enters 8th day without electricity. 4 riders to that story. It says services grounded in hospitals, labs. Those are the most affected. Residents, frozen food dealers count losses. We have this one. Vandals on a prowl destroy transformers. Efforts to restore power ongoing. This is coming from the TCN. 8-day blackout without electricity in the north. Quite very, very, very disturbing. Now, just above that, we have 7 die in an Abuja building collapse. Quite really sad. We're still having the building collapses, you know, frequently and all that. Now, moving on, we have how one chance syndicate killed female legislative aide. Also quite disturbing. Besides that, we have Dangote backs Tinubu CNG drive, invest over $280 million in trucks and infrastructure. Now, the last story we have here, high cost, low sales at petrol stations as citizens abandon vehicles. You can see pictures of petrol stations, very scanty, 1 or 2 vehicles there. Just 2 riders to that story. It says fuel price up by 600% in 2 years. Increased energy cost threat to an economic growth. This is coming from experts. Now, why I was skeptical about Dangote going into this CNG thing is because of the whole saga that went on with NNPCL, and we got the 1,000 naira. So now it's 200, 300. What would happen if, and people have been complaining that the conversion kits cost over 300,000 naira.
Mine is even the safety.
The safety.
A lot of people have not gotten the appropriate orientation in terms of safety. Now, I'm going to say, if you're going to ask me today if I'm going to convert my car to CNG, the answer will be no at the moment. Because I feel like we've not gotten the adequate safety tips and all the necessary information that we need. We're just saying convert to CNG, convert to CNG. What are the measures? We saw a car explode.
Explode, yes.
Over this. Apparently it was parked in the sun and the cylinder was old or something. These are factors that we need to have ensured we have sorted out adequately before we say, okay, 200 naira CNG, let's go for it.
I would even prefer if car manufacturers can, you know, start manufacturing cars that are CNG powered.
Instead of now converting.
I'm
sure that will definitely change.
And I think that's all we have right now coming from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
Right, do not forget you can be a part of the conversation, 0812-182-0154. The Punch newspaper comes up next, but just before we take that, over the weekend it's important to state this. I saw this update. Confederation of African Football awarded Nigeria 3 points and 3 goals and fined Libya $50,000. This is in regards to the inhumane treatment that our Super Eagles faced.
Yes.
You know, and then it's fantastic to see that this is they have claimed that Libya Football Federation breached Article 31 of the African Cup of Nations regulation, as well as Articles 82 and 151, and they've been ordered to pay the $50,000 fine within 60 days of notification of this decision. When I saw it, I was actually impressed. But some people say $50,000 is too small a fine to have been issued to them.
You know, it was even quite disturbing. One of the updates I got was that even when the pilot was asked to divert, he complained about low fuel when he was ordered to divert to another place, and he said he doesn't have enough fuel to land in that particular. But he was still ordered to.
Well, I just needed to, give that update because it came out over the weekend.
Yes, I saw that.
I've not seen it on any of the papers yet. But the Punch newspaper this morning, again, varsities face lockdown as workers begin strike today. Non-teaching staff shut varsity office gates. Offices, gates, ministry mum as minister quits on Wednesday. That's on page 2.
And you wonder why people are jackpying.
Well, just as the president discharged the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, and we're seeing all of this. Hopefully, with a new force on board, we would see that sector.
Do you think it's the problem of the Minister of Education or the federal government?
I won't say it's the problem of the Minister of Education or the federal government. They all have roles to play. If something is wrong somewhere, the head first off has questions to answer. So
exactly.
That's it. But that's on page 2. Above the masthead, federal government plans tax overhaul to access $750 million World Bank loan. That's on page 19. Beside that story, Army begins enlisting ex-soldiers to bridge manpower shortfalls. That's on page 8. Read, EFCC to track funds as local government autonomy begins in November. That's on page 2. Coming to the Ondo governorship polls, Labour Party ADC governorship candidates woo voters with free education and others. It's fantastic that during the electioneering process we see a lot of promises.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, when they get into office, these promises just become mere words.
Yes.
State won't tamper with local government funds, Aiyedatiwa tells voters. That's on page 13. We see this one with a pictorial representation there. NSCDC arrest illegal Chinese miners in Nasarawa State. That's on page 13. You can get the details. Helicopter crash. Family members demand body of missing NNPCL worker. Page 13 also has that story. Beside the story, we have this one. Lagos probes engineer's death at construction site. Page 5 read. And lastly, CNG Dangote invests $280 million in conversion and others. That's on page 20. That wraps it up on the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, the last newspaper is the Guardian newspaper. It says here, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC rather, faults high cost of governance, seek better prudence. I'm glad it's coming from the body that is is in charge of payment, disbursing and all that. But I'm glad it's the RMAFC that's saying this, or RMAFC rather, that's saying this. And you can see pictures of Pabio, Tinubu and all that. Now it says here, below that, it says NIWA rather, to phase out wooden boats on inland waterways, MD assures. Just below that, search enters day 4 for NSIB NSIB recovers 4th helicopter crash victim. That's on panorama page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Below that, Nigerians experiencing COVID debilitating disorders. Expert report. I'll take that again. Nigerians experiencing COVID debilitating disorders. Expert report. Okay, we have one just above the masthead here. It says regime change accusation against the Guardian is unfounded. You can get more of that story on the page, I think page 6. Yes, page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. 7 states waive ROW charges to expand telecoms services. And last but not the least, it says here NASU SANU begins strike over withheld salaries. That's on news page 4. All right, there's a picture here of trucks, and below that there's a caption. It says Dangote-backed CNG drive invests $280 million in trucks and infrastructure. I think that's all we have on the Guardian newspaper this morning. So we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring in our guest and we'll continue with the program. Please stay tuned.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back to the newspaper review. This is where we bring in our guests. Don't forget also that you can call our phone line, which is displayed on your screen. You can call our phone lines. Tell us what's happening in your area. How's fuel in your area? How is it going on in your area? Let us hear from you. Let's welcome Adeniyi Ifetayo. He is a media analyst. Good morning, Adeniyi Ifetayo. Happy New Week. Glad to hear from you.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you live in the studio. Adeniyi Ifetayo, it's been a while.
Yes, I planned to come this morning, but yesterday it was different from Bala Blue. I was knocked off my feet.
You are in town?
Yes.
I was tempted to ask which continent you are.
I told somebody to meet me up at the studio. I just dropped a message for him 5 minutes ago that sorry, yesterday was a long one. We had a football competition I organized within my community to bring the youth together, to speak to them, to inspire them and all of that.
That's a good one.
The finals on the 10th anyway. So very soon I'll be there. Maybe next week I'll try to be at the studio.
We'll look forward to having you.
All right. So I would like to ask you, this morning we're getting this update that Naira is about 1,740 Naira against the dollar. I know the government brought out different policies and the CBN have tried so much to try and stabilize the Naira. At the point, it stood still at 1,500, then we got to 1,600, now 1,740. What else can we do? Is the CBN doing enough? I know, yes, much of it is because we are importing a whole lot into the country, but what can we do? Should we even declare an emergency on the Naira or something? What can be actually done to redeem the face of the Naira or the quality of the Naira?
First and foremost, they need to fight the forces within the system. When I mean to fight the forces within the system, I made a question. You work with High Impact. I can't expect you to be working with High Impact and be collecting salary in Radio Nigeria. It's not possible. So do you know that there are some, I stand to be corrected, some officials who they live in Nigeria and they earn their money here, but they are being paid with foreign currency, be it dollar, be it pounds. You understand? So that's what I said. First and foremost, they need to look inward. Even if you work in England, you'll be paid in pounds. If you work in America, you'll be paid, whether you're a foreign worker or international partner, whatever it is, whatever agreement every institution, every government agency, every corporate body has had with some of their foreign partners coming into Nigeria, and they need to bring out a policy that puts an end to that. So you are not going to be paying somebody who works in Nigeria, paying them with foreign currency. It's one of the ways to deplete Naira. And secondly as well, just like I said, all our mineral resources should be sold in Naira. Let the demand for Naira increase, then Naira will be appreciated. Naira will be a money that is sought after, because a lot of foreign nationals, they come to Nigeria, to do their businesses and all of that. But because of, we want to do this transaction in dollar, so it's depleting, we are bleeding. Naira is bleeding as we speak. So it does not speak well for us. And above all, I would say it is that CBN also need to tighten their bets. Like someone said, that we don't need foreign reserve, because if we are making all our mineral resources domesticated, you bring your dollar here, you must change it to Naira before you can transact with us, then Naira will begin to appreciate.
Right. I would like to just ask a follow-up question now. We have some organizations. When I say organizations, we have some hospitals, we have some educational institutions in Nigeria that don't even accept Naira as a means of payment. So at this point, whose shoulder or who has the responsibility of regulating these bodies, either before establishment, to state it clearly that you have to operate within the confines of the country, Naira payment and all of that? Whose responsibility is it, and what kind of, if I could use the word, punishment or strategies or measures can be taken against such institutions to ensure that you're in Nigeria, you're operating in Nigeria, people patronizing you are Nigerians, but you don't accept payment in Naira? So how can this be properly managed?
Two things. They said that the only thing that is constant is change. So even if the policy that brought them in, even if when they started, initial agreement with the authority or whatever is that will be paid in dollar, whatever it is. And secondly, EFCC is in charge of anything that can sabotage our economy. So if we said exchange in dollar to do a transaction in Nigeria is a sabotage to our economy. So they can give them a grace that whatever transaction you are doing in the next 3 months, let's say for example by January next year 2025, do all your transaction, whatever it is, because we are not going to collect dollar in exchange for a transaction that happens in Nigeria. You understand what? As long as you reside, as long as your business reside in Nigeria, as long as you transact in Nigeria, it must be done in Naira. So they need to give them a period of grace, that maybe 3 months or 6 months, because it's not easy. Then they will understand that yes, things change. And of course, like they say, if you take over a business, you take over both liability and asset, and you begin to readjust, look at everything critically. If you want to save our economy, if you want to save Naira, all those people should be go after. You write them a letter. Yes, we know when you came in, this was the agreement, but things have changed now. It's sabotaging our economy, whether be it education institution, whether be it hospital or whatever hospitality service you are providing. Every transaction must be Naira based, because we want to grow our Naira. And of course, let's encourage our people to patronize made in Nigeria. It will only get better. It's just like a foundation. If you are want to erect one fantastic building, duplex, whatever it is, digging, putting all those peg and all of that, it looks very rough. Like my slogan, that most time, whatever thing that may have a glorious end, may somehow have a rough beginning. Neither is coming back by a special grace of God. I want to be hopeful, and I wish it's come to pass. It will.
So what about us borrowing outside? Is there a possibility that we could borrow in Naira? Is that even possible if we're going to borrow from the World Bank, IMF? If we're not borrowing in Naira, but repay back in Naira, would that help?
No, they might not, because you can't tell a man how to rule his own house. IMF or whatever World Bank, they most time trade, if not in dollar, pounds, or yen, as it were. If you are going there, you know that you live by their rules and regulations. But the only way to reduce that kind of borrowing, by the time you stop what is depleting your income, your resources, what is putting hole in your pocket, you will discover that you can actually live your life without depending on IMF. Just like I saw on the headline this morning, that cost of governance, is one of the baits, is one of the problem or challenges that is depleting our resources. So those are the things that you look at. I thank God for the Mr. President last week that said that any minister that is going for an event or function, reduce your convoy. Maybe sometime you will see like 14 cars, 20 cars and all of that. Even sometimes when the minister is not there, just because, come and meet me so place, and they will put everything, those are the resources that they need to fuel it, they need to repair it, they need to put it in shape and all of that. So who says that sometimes you might not even need it, because even the Bible says that a borrower is a slave to the lender, so they can decide your economy for you, that before we can give you, you need to debase your naira, you need to bring it down, and because you need it, you won't have any option. But if you look inward, we put a stop to those things that is depleting our resources. Tell those foreign nationals that operate here in Nigeria that you must transact your business in naira, or else we can show you the way, out of Nigeria. You see that they will sit tight. But if, like where they say, when there's no law, there's no sin. You understand?
Right. Okay, let's talk about the IMF for a bit now. This morning, we have a couple of headlines on the national dailies. The NLC has attacked or criticized the IMF, saying that they are responsible and they are behind Nigeria's economic woes. And this is connected to the story we have on the Punch newspaper, that the NLC has slammed the IMF for their fuel subsidy removal denial. Now, according to the NLC, the IMF denied its responsibility regarding the Nigerian government's recent removal on petrol subsidy. And on the flip side, on the Vanguard newspaper, the IMF is saying that families are hurting from high prices. It's difficult to place both side by side. Let's get your perspective on this and this NLC's accusation to the IMF.
First and foremost, NLC, to me, they got it wrong. If you don't take care of your home, if you don't take care of your responsibility, you might be leaving your responsibility for somebody to decide how you rule your life. It's our leader that approach them every now and then. They need a loan for this, and most of those money, they are not utilized. They are not actually put to that thing that it was meant to do. You understand what I'm saying? So now saying that it was MFM, maybe they are saying it indirectly, because if, just like I said, the Bible is very specific that a borrower is a slave to the lender. It's what they tell you to do, because you need this money, you need these resources, and they will tell you, before we could give it to you, do this and do that, then you will get it. So it's just our leader that we need to hammer on. And don't let us forget, the man who removed the subsidy was never a president, as in it was the first day. It was not even up to 2 hours or 3 hours or 1 hour when he was sworn in as a president. So there will never be any meeting between him and the IMF, or saying he wants to go and get loan and all of that. He has not really grabbed the economy, you know.
But let me interrupt you for a bit. Let me interrupt you for a bit,
yes.
Before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in, we had former President Muhammadu Buhari, and the conversation was Buhari already removed the subsidy and President Tinubu just made it official. Could you say that former President had done some underground work in that regard?
Yes. Yeah, the former president, in fact, the fuel subsidy removal stop, I think it should be May. There was no provision for it from the month of May. So he was just making the statement of what had been put in place. Because if you should continue, and you can't spend anything that had not been allocated, that had not been budgeted for, unless during the times of war, God forbid. You understand what I'm saying? So there was no, even in this that was the 2023 budget, the payment for subsidy, I think, stopped in April or May. I stand to be corrected. So for him just saying, just like I said, it was not what he discussed with IMF for him to remove subsidy. It was just like you said, just making a pronouncement of what had already been done. So going forward, IMF should not be blamed. Our leaders should look inward, cut the cost of governance. Somebody was suggesting the other day that even this legislative should be done part time. Having 2 chambers of the National Assembly costs a whole lot of. I'm sure you are here at the beginning of this year when they want to buy SUV and all of that for all our billions of naira, when we are bleeding that there's no money to fix road or to fix hospital and all of that. So they should look inward, cut the cost of governance. It's not IMF. Of course, you can't tell me how to rule my own house. It's your leader that are running, jumping around me that they needed a loan, that they want to do ABC, and I need to give them tax. Let me let you know that to get Nigerian visa is very difficult, very, very expensive. I handled some foreign national a few weeks back. So I was wondering why are these people looking for in this country. There's so much here. So just our leader need to look inward, make any of our resources. We are so blessed with natural resources. Domesticate it. Whatever transaction you are doing in Nigeria, if you live in Nigeria, you must spend naira. If you are doing your business in Nigeria, it must be done in naira. And before you know it, that thing, our reserve, and also our reserve should be domesticated. You don't keep money abroad that you are not using while other people are using it to better their environment. And you still go there, you still go and borrow your money and come back again and pay interest on it. It's just a common sense. But like they said, common sense is not common unless it is applied.
All right, Adeni, I'd like to shift your attention towards this headline. Dangote backs Tinubu's CNG drive, invest over $280 million in infrastructure and trucks. Now, Dangote went through a lot. He's still going through a lot. He has a court case, although he said he's going to withdraw by January. And we saw the whole back and forth between Dangote and NNPCL. First of all, what are your expectations based on this investment, $280 million investment in trucks and infrastructure towards compressed natural gas?
As a businessman and as an entrepreneur, there's what we call, you must be proactive. If government is saying that they are going towards compressed natural gas, so being that and you operate in that sectors of the economy, and you are not just a small player, you are playing big. So you need to put that into calculation. Like if I'm supplying, I have a business that serves not just one local government, not just one state, but I have a business that takes care of the whole 774 local government and all of that. I think you should put so many things in place. So spending that money, yes, he's going to recoup it, and he's projecting his business so that the government or the power that be will say that he doesn't have capacity, to do the distribution of the gas distribution and all of that. And it's a good one for him. He shows that he's a businessman. He knows what he's doing, and so that it can be the government policy. Because before you know it, they will say that if you cannot provide X, Y, Z, they don't think you should. Just like when they refined the first set of crude oil, and they said NNPC will be the only distribution channels. No, just because that one has not been put in place. Like he said, that all the fuel refined in Dangote refinery can be traced. So the era of diverting truck to neighboring country, selling it and all of that has come to an end. So, of course, like our former president said, you want to fight corruption, corruption will try to fight you back. So, doing that is a kudos to Dangote that he's being a forward-thinking businessman. And I think Nigeria will be, or the masses, will be the beneficiary in this regard.
That last statement, I'd like to take you up on that last statement. Now, if you remember, before Dangote came into this whole thing, petrol was about 600, thereabout. And when Dangote came in, we all thought petrol will reduce probably half, 300. But now it wasn't the case. Now, coming into CNG, CNG is, President Tinubu said you can buy CNG for 200, but we got reports last week, a caller said it was over 300. So do you think Dangote coming in, and probably NNPC might want to also come in this time around again to get their own large, do you think that we would actually get CNG at 200 or 300 naira, or it might even go up as a result of price fixing and all that?
It will go down. I'm sure it's the first, supply that were made to that. You know, that time during the petroleum, they said Dangote want to sell it so amount. They said, no, come on. You sold this crude oil to me in dollars, so let me sell it back to you in dollar. After I exhausted what you sold to me, then since the Mr. President has said, let transaction, be done in naira, we can then look at it in naira. But as a businessman, you don't go in business to make losses or to make loss. You have to have that in mind. Yes, you want to serve the people, and of course, doing that, even if it's a token or a margin, that as my profit after paying all the overhead expenses. So I'm saying that it will still go down. It's just the same thing that happened initially. By December, you can quote me. You will see that CNG will be minimal, will be reduced, because I'm sure he will have pushed out the first set of delivery that was sold to him, I believe, also in dollar. So after he will exhaust that, the first set of, that was supplied to him and refined and all of that, to become compressed natural gas, so that it can be used, domestically and even internationally. It will reduce the price, the price will definitely come down. It's just trying to stabilize 2-3 months. I'm sure we have the accurate price.
Right. We'll keep our fingers crossed to see that. But just before we go, this last question on the Punch newspaper, it has to do with the educational sector. Again, varsities face lockdown as workers begin strike today. This is as non-teaching staff shut university offices gates and the ministry is mum. Just last week, the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, was part of the people that was relieved of his duties by the president, and we're seeing this as NASU SANU workers have embarked on a strike over non-payment of salaries. 2 questions. What's your reaction to this? This time around, it's not ASU, but it's still in the educational sector. Secondly, do you think with this rejig in the educational sector, the discharge of duties of the former Minister of Education, do you think we'll see some sort of improvement in this educational sector in terms of payment of withheld salaries and rehabilitation of the whole educational sector at large?
Well, first and foremost, it's in the prerogative of Mr. President to reshuffle the cabinet, so it's not strange. And if you say you want to reshuffle cabinet, I'm sure you have seen a lapses or something that you want to fix. So, but in governance, there shouldn't be vacuum. Even if there's no minister, there should be somebody coordinating or permanent secretary or whatever. So that shouldn't leave a gap, So, and if you look at I don't know now because I've not really taken a look, education is one of the sectors that received the little of the whole budget. And I think we are crying our leaders of tomorrow. Education is the best legacy, and we are not investing properly into it. Somebody you want to support teaching staff or workers that will make them to have a comfortable or enabling environment to teach our children, our kids, and all of that. We are not taking care of them. That means we want to tamper with the future of these students that you felt that you sent to the University of Polytechnic as it were. Mr. President should look in towards this, because it shouldn't be a case in the past where university or workers would be on strike for like 6 months and nothing was done. Everybody kept mum. But I believe President Bola Tinubu is proactive, and he should engage them, whatever it is. If they can pay all those National Assembly, all those workers, their payment should be something to a kind of walkover, and they should do that so that they can, back to the school. Yes,
right.
Yes.
Very, very true. That's a wonderful place to wrap up the conversation this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Adeniyi Fetayo, media analyst, and for sharing your thoughts with us on these headlines. It's been a delight.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
Enjoy
well done, Mr. Olumide.
You too. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
So, he said something.
All right.
If they're able to pay the senators, all those at the helm of affairs, in the 2 chambers and what have you, then the salaries of these workers should not be... And how much are they even earning?
Why is it so hard to pay university workers? Why is it so hard?
I think that there's a need for a proper gatekeeping. You'll be surprised that it's not as if the federal government is not disbursing this money or what have you, but there's some sort of loophole somewhere.
But they operate the TSA account, single
treasury single account.
Yes, so it goes directly into their. That was what what you call ASU were fighting for, the IPPIS and this and that, and all that. But the federal government wanted a situation whereby they pay directly. They are saying no, but I mean, it's a whole lot. But it all boils down to, just like you said, the money probably must have been disbursed. It's hanging somewhere. Where is it hanging? I think that's where the FCC should come in.
Right. All right. That wraps it up on this segment of the Newspaper Review. The show continues right after this break with our views from the net. Stay with us.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the Breakfast Cafe, and this segment is Views from the Net. We throw out a question and you share your thoughts with us, and we educate ourselves. And the question we're treating today is, what profitable business can you do in Nigeria currently, at the moment, in this current economic situation? What profitable business can you do? Let me start and say, I think if you're going to go into any business these days, you must be a solution provider. You must be able to provide solution to any problem, hunger, health, or sell dreams to people. If you look at manufacturers that make shoes, they sell dreams. If you look at manufacturers that make cars, they sell status. They don't actually sell the product, but they sell something else. So if you're able to sell something that meets the needs of people, that's why food business these days is not really saturated. I always say this: even if you are selling food in Katangora or in Badagry, people, so far as your food is sweet and very lovely, satisfying, people would patronize you.
Right. I think that leads us to the first comment, which is Uzziah from Ogun State. Uzziah says the first profitable business is food, food supply, and he stated his reasons. Number one, food is the most basic essential need of all human beings and animals. Everyone eats every day. The second reason, demand for food is on the increase every day due to increase in population, most especially in the Nigerian society. The third reason, there's food scarcity in the country. So the higher the demand for food, the higher the price, which makes it a profitable business. The fourth reason, as a family, it reduces excess charges in food items for family consumption because I'll buy from my brand at a subsidized rate. And the last reason, food can be sourced locally in the country without being charged exorbitantly in the border or port clearance for importation. I like the fact that Uzziah had to, break down 5 reasons why he would go for food supply. I
mean, there would always be one bed, so food would always sell.
Yeah, everybody's going to eat. Everybody's going to eat. But at the same time, you need to look at the quality of food that you're giving out. And hygiene and everything has to be looked into.
When you say hygiene, I thought they said the dirtier the canteen, the sweeter the food.
Who said that? From where? So you see,
I saw a meme like that.
So you see a restaurant or a canteen that is dirty and you feel like, okay, this food will be delicious, I need to go there. Wow.
They said if it's by the gutter side,
they're playing
and
with
if they are rude,
they're playing with food poisoning. No, about that road, what I heard about the road is if you're going to buy amala and the seller and our attendants are not rude or saucy, then it can't be nice. That they have to be rude, they have to give an attitude. Not that the environment should be dirty. Why would I see an environment that is dirty and decide to buy food there? I'm just joking with my health then.
Well, this one is from Melody from Benin. It says, selling food items. People are hungry. Being a mentor for a high-paying skill, people are broke with the
So you want to be a mentor for a high-paying skill. Wow. That's nice. Cash out. You want to be cashing out. But let us know your thoughts. Which business would you go into if you wanted to start a business in this current economy? Which would you start in Nigeria? 0812-182-0154 is number to call. Let's take Praise from Bagada. Praise says, a workstation strategically positioned in band B to band Z, where light is inconsistent. A great workstation in such areas that remote workers can work from would just be perfect. Not to talk about when national grid is down, the potential is just peak. Praise.
Good idea. It's a solution.
Going to an area where they have epileptic pass. That means you are running on either diesel or fuel, a very strong solar system that you're able to power it. It's a fantastic solution, but it will also require a lot. Because there's no power there, so you're running on diesel, fuel, or other means of generating power. But it would definitely solve a lot of problems.
Yes, it would. I mean, like all these small mini shops that charge phones and gadgets.
And they're quite pricey. I know a couple of them in Lagos that they are workstations, and you see the price per hour, you're like, but guess what? People that are remote workers, some of them don't like staying at home. They would rather go to that space, get connected to their internet, and do their job.
Yes. Now, this next one is Ayomide from Ibadan. He says, or he or she says, tech generally. Well, tech is actually booming. Comedy, script making. I don't know, maybe it might be a profitable business if you're in the scripts, if you're in the movie industry and all that, writing scripts for movie producers and all that. Maybe you might make a fortune out of it.
It's a comedy for me. I hope you are really funny, Ayomide, because I wouldn't want to pay money to come and watch you and I don't forget about my problems. And I'm still, all summed up. But Ayomide has quite a couple of things going on there. But let's see Shegun from Mushi. Shegun says, honestly, it's the POS business. Setting up a POS close to any market is a win. You earn a small commission on every transaction and you'll never lack customers, especially on weekends when people are doing their market runs. Now I see why Shegun is from Mushi. Because the rate at which POS businesses are thriving now, you walk for 2 minutes a POS stand, 1 minute a POS stand, and it has made people get so comfortable with not going to the ATM
again, yes,
or the banks, except when people want to really withdraw large amounts of money. But you want to withdraw your urgent 2K, the collect 100 naira, you want to withdraw 5,000, you want to withdraw 10,000, especially during weekends. There's usually no money in the ATM, so people are stranded. They need to find money. So
and it's quite funny how you have POS operators just beside an ATM or a bank ATM where it's not dispensing. Very appropriate. It's a solution.
You even have POS operators beside themselves.
Yes.
One is here with her umbrella, another one is here with his umbrella.
Yes.
And everybody has their business and have their customers.
Exactly. Now, this next one is Chibuzo from Abba. Now, Chibuzo says, agriculture is still the way forward, my friend. If you get a small plot of land for cassava or maize, people will always buy from you, no matter the season. Food is a daily necessity, so it is consistent. It's a consistent business. Well, agriculture is good if you are in a terrain where you don't have band-aids and all that and whatnot.
And you need to consider the land. What I mean is flooding is a major issue that affects agriculture. So whatever land you're going to get, you must make sure it's not a waterlogged land. You must make sure you have the facilities to protect your products, your produce from pests, rodents, bandits, if that's the word. But aside that, it's a fantastic business, I must say. But let's take Amaka from Enugu. Amaka says e-commerce is where it's at now. Open an Instagram or WhatsApp store and start selling anything from clothes to hair products. Everyone is shopping online these days, so you don't even need a physical shop.
Are they actually
It's dicey for me. There are some things that I will not buy online because I've been scammed.
Wow.
Like what you order is not what you get. So there are some things that I would rather go to a walk-in store. I know your store. I know this is what you're selling. I can feel it. I can see it and pay for it. Fine, there's a comfort that comes with, just order it online. They have it delivered to your doorstep. You don't have to go to the market or do this or do that. The only way I will do that now is if I know somebody that knows the person and the person has probably patronized that brand before and it's good, or I know you from somewhere, from way back or something, or I have a sort of relationship with you. I can easily trace you through somebody. But if I just stumble on a page, and there are some that will even tell you they don't have physical store, anything is online. Yeah, I know a couple of them, they don't have any physical store. Make your order, they deliver it. There are some things that I will not do online.
I even run away from payment before delivery.
But most of them, that's what they do. Payment before delivery. You pay for it before you see it. I remember one time I bought a hair, that was like 2 years ago, online. It looked so fantastic. Like I said, I really want this. I saved up for it and I got it, and by the time it got to me, it felt like sponge. And
some will tell you they have no refund policy.
Yeah.
It's quite disturbing. Now we have this one. This is Tunde from Lagos. Honestly, transport business is booming. Buy a small vehicle or start a bike business. Well, bike business not in Lagos. People are always moving around. With the current state of public transport, you would always have customers. Are you sure, Tunde, in Lagos?
Yeah, there are some places where they still use motorcycles in Lagos.
For dispatch?
No, for transportation.
For transportation.
It's not every part of Lagos that it has been scrapped. So, yeah, like our producer just said, on the island, they're still by motorcycles, in operation. So it's not everywhere.
What about buses? These days, public transport is always scammed. You have less cars moving on the road.
I think it has gotten better. It was when the fuel situation first happened, but now it has actually gotten better. People will always have somewhere to go. That's the truth. People would always want to move around. That's why even during a lockdown or whatever, when there's a sort of restriction, you still find public transport on the road because they know people have to go somewhere. So that's it. But let's quickly take Aisha from Aja. Aisha says the food business is a sure bet. Nigerians love to eat out, whether it's local dishes or snacks like suya or shawarma. Olumide, catch us up. If you can cook well or hire a good cook, just find a busy spot and you're good to go. Thank you, Aisha. Olumide loves shawarma. So.
Yes, and I'm proud of it. Now, this one says tech services like phone repairs, software installation are highly profitable now. With the way people are relying on smartphones and laptops, you would always have work. Plus, it doesn't require too much capital to start. Ahmed from Ibadan. Well, yes, if you're going to tech business, being a phone repairer is not just, you must be able to actually, because I've had bad experiences. You give your phone for someone to repair, probably it's something that is wrong, and by the time he repairs it, it develops other faults.
You give your phone to a phone repairer, it's the screen that is faulty, and by the time he brings it back, the mouthpiece is bad.
It's bad.
You take it back, you can't hear what anybody is saying.
Yeah.
You take it back, the switchboard, the turn off or the volume button is not working, and they're
become a regular customer.
What did I do? And they say sometimes these artisans do these things that you take something to them for repair, and somehow they intentionally touch something else, so you have to keep, especially with cars. If you're not careful, your car is faulty. They tell you it's brain box. Tomorrow they tell you a gear pad, next to baby brake pad, next tomorrow they tell you need to change your oil, tomorrow is steering, kinikon. You know, sometimes if you're not careful and you fall into the wrong hands, you keep going back over and over, and at the end of the day you find out that that was not even really the problem in the first place. Right? But let's see Chioma from Port Harcourt. Chioma says real estate, even on a small scale, is very profitable. You can start with renting out a few rooms or even small kiosks. People will always need places to live or run their businesses, especially in busy cities. Well, maybe real estate. I won't put it as real estate. Maybe hospitality.
Yes.
Hospitality is the word. You have this shortlets, Airbnb, motels here and there for people that have short stays or whatever. So I would not say it's real estate. I would say it's hospitality services.
All right, the next one is Shola from Abuja. It says, laundry services are a good option. With the way people are busy working in this Abuja, they are always looking for someone to help them with their laundry. If you are reliable, you would get a repeat customer. Well, I quite agree with laundry services these days. I mean, most people, especially those who are on a 9 to 5, they might not have time.
I thought people were doing washing machine now.
You still have to iron.
Yeah, you see that ironing thing? It's a no-no for me. Whenever I have to iron, it's like you've put a very huge burden on my shoulders. I don't like ironing.
I like ironing. I don't like washing.
You can pack all the dishes in the house for me to wash. You can give me clothes. It's not like I really like washing clothes, but I'll pick you over ironing anytime, any day. Or just give me 3 pairs of trousers or skirts to iron. Oh, no. I don't like ironing at all. I dread it. I detest it with everything in me. If I had my way, I would put on my clothes like that, but I can't. So.
I actually love ironing. I think it had to do with my dad, my late dad. When I was little, he would give me a suit to iron, and if he sees one wrinkle, I'll go back to ironing. Nah,
I don't like ironing. It's not my thing. But let's take Blessing from Benin. Blessing says, event planning and rentals can be quite lucrative. Nigerians love to celebrate, from weddings to birthdays. If you can handle decorations, catering, or rent out chairs and canopies, you'll be in business. You see this thing about renting out chairs and canopies, that's taking a different turn.
Yeah.
You go to the registry, I remember when my siblings were getting married and went to the registry. Normally, you're supposed to come with family. They won't expect you to just wed like that. Witness, family. Apparently, you rent your chairs. The chair that your family is going to sit on. At the time, one plastic chair was going for 200 naira. Was it 200 or 300 naira? So you rent it for a period of time. Rent, if it's 10 you want to rent or whatever. After that, another batch. And you can't just stand, so people have to rent. That's another business that is thriving there. People are making money from that. So, well, people just find loopholes here and there and decide to turn it into opportunities. At the same time, let's know when we are starting to exploit each other.
Rightly said. Now, this one says freelancing online as a writer or graphic designer is a good way to earn. With international clients paying in dollars, it's one of the few ways to beat inflation and the weak naira. Are you a patriot, Emeka from Owerri?
You know, I see when I see people that are excited, oh, the naira is depreciating, it's 1,007, and they are happy. I'm like, okay, because you're earning in dollars, you convert it. By the time you start to spend it here, at the end of the day, you've still spent quite a lot.
Well, I think especially those who travel out are coming back for Christmas. You know, once they have 1 million or 2 million naira, which is quite chicken change over there, they feel they've arrived and all that. So they see it as a big deal. That's why a lot of people are going out, you know, or jackpotting to other countries to make dollars and come back and feel like, you know, someone will go and clean the toilet and come back and, you know, feel like a big boy here. But he can't do that in Nigeria. So you can't really blame people. But, well, we do appreciate all your thoughts, and we hope that you've learned one or two things. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll continue with the program. Stay tuned.
Looking for a world of education and entertainment? Get ready to dive into limitless excitement on iImpact Full HD TV. Micromsat 42 degrees east. Enjoy a packed lineup of thrilling shows, sports actions, electrifying music, and so much more. iImpact TV, securing the future.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back to the program, and this is the segment where we'll be having a very insightful conversation. What we do here is we take a look at some topics that need to be addressed, and this morning we're tilting towards health because it is very, very important. We're talking about tuberculosis, tackling tuberculosis for a healthier future. I'm sure a lot of people are asking, what exactly is this? A lot of people don't even understand what tuberculosis is and the implication. But to give a brief read, tuberculosis, which is popularly called TB, remains a major health challenge in Nigeria, affecting thousands and contributing significantly to the global TB burden. Despite advances in medical treatment and preventive strategies, Nigeria continues to grapple with high rates of infection, partially due to socioeconomic factors like poverty, overcrowding, and limited access to health care in rural areas. Efforts by the Nigerian government, supported by international partners such as USAID, have focused on improving access to diagnostic tools and treatment, aiming to curb the spread of tuberculosis and prevent the progression from infection to active disease. Now, recent initiatives, including social behavior change, interventions, and the use of innovative diagnostic tools like portable digital X-ray machines, have made giant strides in identifying and treating tuberculosis cases. However, to achieve sustained progress, ongoing investment in health infrastructure, community education, and support for drug-resistant tuberculosis management is essential to reducing the burden of this preventable disease in Nigeria. So now we're giving you a background to tuberculosis, and to have this conversation with us is Dr. Tuyi Mebawondo. I don't know if he's on the line yet. We have Dr. Tuyi Mebawondo on the line. He's a public health specialist. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Tuyi. Are you there? Dr. Tuyi, good morning. All right, we cannot hear Dr. Tuyi. I'm sure our producer is working on that. You know, tuberculosis is one of the things where it's one of the health challenges that a lot of people don't know so much about. The causes, how to stay safe, how transmissible it is, and things to look out for. People just know, oh, the person is coughing so hard, maybe the person is coughing blood, but it's actually beyond that.
Well, one of the things I know about tuberculosis is that it's airborne. You just have to be very careful, because once there's someone beside you who has it, sneezes, coughs, does anything, you know, there's a very high chance that you might, you know, contract it.
Even when you want to travel to some climbs, it's part of the required test.
Yes.
Excuse me, it's part of the required test you have to take to ensure that you don't have it and you don't get to spread it. It is quite severe.
Very severe. Fatal.
It is very severe. The moment someone close to you, you have it and you're close to someone, at the end of the day, you have to be contained and give some space. But we have Dr. Tuyi back on the line. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Tuyi. Are you there? We cannot hear Dr. Tuyi. I think we should take a very quick break. Let's take a very quick break. We'll be back in a moment.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, There is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Looking for a world of education and entertainment? Get ready to dive into limitless excitement on iImpact Full HD TV. Micromsat 42 degrees east. Enjoy a packed lineup of thrilling shows, sports actions, electrifying music, and so much more. High Impact TV, securing the future.
Do you
Prospicians, Prospicians, Prospicians.
welcome back. This is, we're still having a conversation on tuberculosis, tackling tuberculosis in Nigeria. And of course, our guest is Dr. Tuyi Meba-Wondu. He is a public health specialist. Good morning, and it's glad to have you on the program.
Yeah, good morning. Maybe we need to raise our voice a bit so that I hear ourselves clearly.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So we're having a conversation around tuberculosis, and just for a proper understanding, you're a public health specialist. What exactly is tuberculosis? What are the causes of tuberculosis, for a start?
Yeah, tuberculosis is a disease caused by a germ called Mycobacteria tuberculosis. Okay? There are many types of Mycobacteria. Mycobacteria tuberculosis causes tuberculosis. Mycobacteria lepra causes leprosy. So they are the same family. They cause the disease differently. Tuberculosis, in majority of the cases, 80% of the cases affect the lung. But tuberculosis can affect any organ in the body. Okay? Right. It can affect the abdomen. It can affect the brain. It can affect the bone. It can affect the reproductive system. So tuberculosis is a very concerning illness, because if you look at the burden of tuberculosis, right now, the world has about more than 10.4 million cases of tuberculosis. Tuberculosis in 2023 is the leading cause of death. As far as infectious diseases are concerned, it kills more people than HIV, and you can be rest assured that even what we are now getting is what we consider a resistant strain of tuberculosis, which drugs cannot cure, which is difficult for drugs to cure.
Right.
Unfortunately, tuberculosis can be prevented, it can be cured.
Okay.
Why we have this large body of tuberculosis is still a problem, because a single positive case of tuberculosis can infect 15 persons before a day or so.
Right.
So imagine if you have 1 million cases of tuberculosis, or 3 million cases of tuberculosis, imagine the number of people that have been infected in a day. Okay? So, and then if you come back to Nigeria, tuberculosis, kills as many every day. Tuberculosis kills as many as 260 people every blessed day. In Africa, it kills as many as 230 people. Nigeria is the highest. 260 people die from TB every day in this Africa. So you can imagine why the disease is so important.
Very true. All right. Okay. Please go on.
Also, if you look at the conditions that tend to, facilitate tuberculosis illnesses, if you look at those conditions, tuberculosis has a cooperation with some diseases. HIV and tuberculosis are partners in crime. Unfortunately, Nigeria is also a leading country with cases of HIV. Malnutrition and tuberculosis work together. The more your immune system is depressed, the more likely you are going to have a fatal form of tuberculosis. Nigeria is leading in malnutrition. Overcrowding, poverty, displacement, these are factors that help to spread tuberculosis.
Okay, Dr. Tuyi. Yeah, let me come in for a bit because of our time. We have given a background, a very broad background to tuberculosis and, the causes and the numbers and all of that. But how can Nigeria as a nation address the gap between the diagnosis and the treatment, particularly in rural and developing and underdeserved communities?
I'm not hearing you very well, but I guess I'm asking about symptoms and treatment of tuberculosis.
Yes, how Nigeria can address the gap between the diagnosis and the treatment, especially in rural communities.
tuberculosis because part of the SDG is to end to be TB by 2030. I want to start development goals on television is to end tuberculosis by 2030. Now, one of the major obstacles is actually lack of detection. There are more than 500,000 TB tuberculosis cases in Nigeria that we are not picking. We need to pick those tuberculosis. In order to pick those tuberculosis, we need to get human beings, trained human beings, and then we need to assess diagnosis. Tuberculosis could be a bit difficult to diagnose. We need to do training for those people and assess diagnosis. We need to step up surveillance. We need to put money to cater for cases of tuberculosis. So in Nigeria, apart from addressing those social problems, which are risk factors, poverty, overcrowding, malnutrition, HIV, drug, alcohol, smoking, and poor hospital hygiene, still, we need human resources, we need money, we need diagnostic, we need surveillance. These are critical issues that we take against controlling tuberculosis in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. Now, you mentioned that it is it's quite difficult to diagnose tuberculosis. So my question now is, how can the government step in? What can be done? Are there any symptoms, signs and symptoms? Could we have some form of health check in public places, especially airports, even in schools, to help us? I remember during the COVID era, we had this machine that will check your temperature before you enter any public space and all that. So what do you think? What can be done?
Yeah, it seems to be such that those days you need to do a chest X-ray. You need to do what they call a massive test to check tuberculosis because of the danger or spread of tuberculosis. People want to be sure that as you are entering school, you are coming from the house, you are entering institutions, when somebody is entering correctional centers, one must check for tuberculosis. Of course, these are proactive measures to detect the disease and cure it as soon as possible.
Okay.
But you can still be tricked in the sense that tuberculosis can be mass and you will not see it even when you do those tests. Now, you can look at what are the common symptoms of tuberculosis. A cough that any cough that is lasting more than a week if you investigate. People say 3 weeks investigate. Even for me, every cough lasting more than a week should be investigated. And the simple investigation is to take specimen of the cough and look into it. There's a special test you call GeneSpot. Weight loss, when the person is losing so much weight, you have to find out why the person is losing so much weight. The person may not actually cough. Okay? Fever. This fever usually was at night. Night fever, night sweating, these are some of the so-called symptoms of tuberculosis. Chest pain. If you don't be chest pain, then you need to check whether the person has tuberculosis.
Okay.
The protocol of signs and symptoms are there. The tests to be done are also there. But at the end of the day, we need to engage trained people to get those things done.
Dr. Tuyi, just before we wrap up with you, because we've exhausted our time, just very quickly, there's a very important segment of this which has to do with the stigma that comes with those that have tuberculosis because they are segregated from the community. So I would like to ask, what strategies, in less than 1 minute, if you can respond to this, what strategies have been adopted to help manage the stigma that people that have tuberculosis deal with?
You are asking about drug sector people that have been affected or what?
This people that have been affected with tuberculosis, there's a stigma that comes with it. There's a way they are segregated. Yes, stigma.
Okay. Stigma.
Yes, please.
Okay. How do you eradicate stigma? Okay.
What strategies have been better used to manage it, not eradicating, to properly manage it?
Now, if we discuss information appropriately, we can be able to deal with stigma. Because tuberculosis is curable and preventable. And you can have total cure once you take the drug as stipulated for about 6 months. So TB is curable, TB is preventable. So let us get that one straight. Okay? Once you've treated the people, and in fact, when you commence treatment, by the third week, the person can actually interact with people because sputum becomes negative around the third week. Now, we have to keep talking. When you don't inform people what is possible, then stigma comes about. Now, unfortunately, at the early stage of treating tuberculosis, you have to separate the corpse so that the person does not transmit disease. But after third week, the person is safe. So, education will be a very powerful tool to use to fight stigmatization. Leaflets, posters, radio, TV discussion can help us to understand why we don't need to stigmatize people with tuberculosis. Because if you stigmatize, a lot of them will run away and you wasn't in a case for everybody.
All right, thank you very much. This is a safe place to land. Thank you very much, Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu. We really appreciate your time and your thoughts with us.
Are you there, Dr. Tuyi? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, we have been discussing tackling tuberculosis for a healthier future, and I hope you've learned one or two things from some of the things Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu said. He is a public health specialist. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll take trending stories. Please stay tuned.
Welcome to the high side of life. Join us every day at High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station. I just want to be
You are not here to come and tell us what you already knew in the area of resources. So if you are telling us the reason why you have failed in fixing our road infrastructure is because of resources, don't let me take you up there. Because you concentrated your energy as a minister on less priority issues. Don't discuss resources. I say it again. With all the road that we have across the country are failed. If you are addressing these roads, existing roads, with the resources that you have, sir, Honorable Minister, we will not be where we are. Don't discuss resources. I say it again. You came here last year, you got 300 billion budget approval, supplementary approval. Don't raise my emotion. I am worried that you are not concerned about fixing Nigerian roads. We are not here for business of whether you want to do the job or you don't want to do the job. Stop telling us we are awarding road. We don't want you to be awarding road that you are not ready to do. How can you be telling us that there is no resources? In less than 1 minute, from everything that everybody has said, it's a clue. You have no plan for us as a nation. I was wondering what was used as benchmark for your appraisal.
Welcome back. The video you just watched was the Minister of Works on a hot seat, being grilled by a representative, and the last sentence he made was quite an eye-opener. He was actually asking Dave Umahi what happened. Why is he not focused on the roads? Why is he always focused on the projects and not completing them? And he made mention of how he came to the House and got 300 billion naira budget as supplementary budget approval, and he's talking about not having resources to do this XYZ. I know some experts have even queried why President Tinubu did not add Dave Umahi to those he relieved from the duties. I mean, regarding what happened with the Lagos Calabar project that started, you demolished a whole lot of businesses and all that, and then you came back and said, oh, we missed our way. That wasn't the way we were supposed to pass.
First of all, I must commend the astuteness of this rep member. The energy and the passion he used in questioning David Umahi is commendable, right? Only if it's not just for the screens, optics. If it is just, if it is actually sincere. And one of the key things to note out is, why are you not fixing existing ones before talking about the creation of new ones? You know, you mentioned the Calabar-Lagos Coastal Highway and what have you. After demolishing, if I could use the word bitches, you know, a land mass of so many businesses, and later they said it was a misdirection or what have you. That was not the route. At that point, questions needed to have been asked. And you see people commenting, talking about the fact that they had so much hope in David Umahi, but they are disappointed. And I'd like to hold on to the last thing the House of Rep members said before the video ended. He said, I wonder what was used for your appraisal. What exactly have you done to have been appraised or to still be in office by now? Why are you not part of the 5 ministers that were yanked off? But let's see what the comments have to say. Let's take some comments.
Z2HTV says, Nigeria isn't ready. All government needs to do is to concession those roads. We don't need to be budgeting trillions for roads when we can concession, and those trillions can be utilized for other sectors like health, etc. Concession, well, my fingers are crossed about that. Let's take this one. This is Frank Opara. He says, I hope this is not a smoke screen. Just like Sarah said, it is high time David Umahi is brought down from his high horse. Dude behaves like he is a god. Honestly, personally, I've not really seen so much of what David Umahi, as the Minister of Works, has done in this period. And I don't know, but I think it needs to be put in check. Honestly, 300 billion is not a child's play. It needs to be put in check. And I hope that the words of the questions that this House of Rep member is asking will not just be put. So we're still waiting for David Umahi to respond to this and give us a breakdown, if possible, what exactly is working on. Why has he abandoned, if I could use the word abandoned, major old projects and creating new ones? Why don't you fix the old ones there before doing new ones? But that's it on our trendy segment this morning. We hope you learned something from that. Let's go on a break and give you weather forecast. welcome back. This has been a bumper episode of the Breakfast Cafe. And as we draw the curtains, I would like to say a special thanks to everyone. First of all, our guest, Adini Ifetai and Dr. Tuyimewa Wandu, for gracing this episode of the Breakfast Cafe. Also to our producers, directors, audio and visual engineers, thank you very much. But the bigger thanks is to you listening and watching. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time, same station. I am Olumide Shokoya. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And don't forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms at High Impact Studios and High Impact TV. I am Sarah Ozwans, and I wish you a fantastic and beautiful week. Bye-bye.
Looking for a world of education and entertainment? Get ready to dive into limitless excitement on iImpact Full HD TV.